difficult job. But that does not justify the charges that Prosecutor Layton charged in this case. And I say that because what you're going to see in a video is disturbing. It's a edited version of a number of facts that laid out in a video that was over 11 minutes long because of a family member. It's also a case where not all AFC nursing home workers are painted with the same brush. We know and hope that this is just a small sampling, but yet it doesn't matter. If you do this to a vulnerable adult, in this case, a 93-year-old lady on her birthday, you're going to be held accountable. Not only in Genesee County, but as you can see from other stories that the media has put out around the state. There are good quality nursing homes and AFC homes out there that do it right. But those that allow this to happen, that's the big story. And the takeaway is going to be from what you hear of the victim's daughter as to why they put that camera in and took that footage, what alerted them, and ultimately what we need to do from here. So here's what happened. On April the 4th, 2024, our 93-year-old victim who has severe dementia was assaulted by a caregiver, a 26-year-old female from Flint Township. And what the caregiver didn't know is in direct eyesight of that nanny cam. And here's that footage. There's no sound. You're going to see that the victim had an accident. You're going to see the roughness of the caregiver to the victim. That is a soiled diaper. Takes the right hand around the neck in an attempt to choke. A few minutes later, you're going to see the caregiver square off on this victim. I know that's difficult for the family to see. But when you have somebody who has reached a tipping point and takes it out on somebody that is so frail and so vulnerable, this stage of dementia, you cannot carry on a conversation with our victim. This is severe dementia. She has no idea what's going on. She can't process what we process on a regular basis. Many times these cases, they turn out to be what you just saw and worse. That's why when elder abuse was contacted, because of the family's progressive and proactive demonstration of videotaping this whole incident, because of what they saw, we were able to put the case together. I want to thank Sergeant Leonowitz and Lieutenant Nicholson and the Elder Abuse Task Force at the landings of Genesee Valley. They have worked with us hand in hand. There may be other suspects that remove property from this room. You're going to hear more about that should that come to pass. But we're going to focus on this 26-year-old female, Miss Arrington, who was charged by the prosecutor. And with me is my co-laborer in justice, Prosecutor David Layton.
Sheriff, thank you. A very difficult situation here. When this video was brought over by the sheriff's investigators, it came directly to the administration of the Genesee County Prosecutor's Office, and my chief assistant, Tammy Phillips, reviewed the video, and then she called down to me and said, "Hey, boss, you want to come look at this?" And I did, and just like all of you who have now just witnessed it, I was appalled, I was disgusted, and I was very angry. And I said to Chief Assistant Phillips, we're going to have to charge this woman as harshly as we can, because number one, it's all right there on the video, and we have probable cause to believe that a crime was committed, and we have probable cause to believe she committed the crime, but also as a deterrent factor for the community, So folks understand this is not how you treat our senior citizens, our elderly. So as a result, we have charged Ms. Arrington with count 1, first-degree vulnerable adult abuse. And let me read the language to you. It says that on or about April 4th of this year, being a person who directly cares for or has physical custody of a vulnerable adult did intentionally cause serious physical or mental harm to our senior citizen, that vulnerable adult who you saw on the video. That's a felony punishable by up to 15 years in prison. Count 2, torture. On or about April 4th of this year, did with the intent to cause cruel or extreme physical or mental pain and suffering, inflict great bodily injury or severe mental pain or suffering upon our senior citizen, a person within her custody or physical control. That's a felony punishable by up to life in prison. And count 3 is assault with intent to do great bodily harm less than murder or by strangulation. On or about April 4th of this year, did make an assault upon our senior citizen by strangulation or suffocation or with intent to do great bodily harm less than the crime of murder. That's a felony punishable by up to 10 years in prison. As I say in all of these news conferences, our accused is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. It is my responsibility to provide the evidence to the trier of fact to show her guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, and that is what we intend to do. Let me say this in closing. I remember when Vice President Hubert Humphrey said that the moral test of government is how we treat those in the dawn of life, our children, those in the shadows of life, our special needs folks, and those in the dusk of life, our senior citizens. This prosecutor believes in that moral test of government, and we are going to protect senior citizens in this county, and we're going to protect this senior citizen by prosecuting this case. Thank you.
I told you that family is here. There's 3 members behind cameras, and the daughter Kathy is here. It's got to be difficult for you to see that video. But
Very.
would you tell, for teaching purposes and background, why your family decided to put a camera in there?
It started back in December. We noticed some bruises and we talked to them and they were like, oh, well, she hit her arms on this or whatever. And just that gut feeling, no, that, and her hand was totally black. So I contacted Lieutenant Nicholson and he did some investigating, and then, they're not telling everything they know. And so then my sister Kim and I got together and we decided to put the nanny cam in there. And the first nanny cam we put in there didn't work. So she ended up with more bruises, and same thing. She hit her arm on the wall. She hit her arm on the door frames. And then we got this nanny cam, and, we caught various things going on in my mom's room, like people stealing from her. And we're like, okay. But then we caught a couple of other where they were being too rough with her. And then we caught this on video. And like you said, 99.9% of the facilities out there, I think, take good care of their people. But that 0.1%, my advice is get a nanny cam, whether they're in a home, whether they're in an assisted living, whether you have them in your home and you have somebody that comes in a couple hours a day to watch them. We have to protect them. She's 93.
And when you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear. What was it like when you first saw that footage of the bathroom personally?
I've always been my mom's protector, so and I couldn't drive. I just had surgery. So I couldn't do anything, and I'm watching this, and all I kept saying was, my mom. Why are you doing this to my mom? She's 93, 5 foot tall. little 130-pound lady, never been in a fight in her whole life. She had 3 older brothers. She didn't have to, you know, but horrified, just horrified.
Do you feel like we've given her justice, the prosecutor,
I
the
believe,
sheriffs?
I believe that you and your task force and even Flint Township, when they first
Yes.
came out, and Prosecutor Layton, all I can do is sing your praises.
Well, I appreciate that. We do want to thank Flint Township. That's a great point because they're the ones that helped work this with us. Tell us about your mom, what she was like growing up.
My mom raised 3 girls on her own, so you can imagine. She had her hands full, and I was kind of the radical one, I'm not going to lie. But she was a great mom. She worked at AC, and my dad would never pay the child support, so my mom raised us on her own. She was, you know, every Saturday morning, get up, 7 o'clock, time to clean the house. That's what I remember. But I mean, she was a great mom. She cooked for us. She took care of us, all on her own.
Now it's your time to protect her.
That's exactly it. I have been. My mom started getting dementia. She lived with me for about 8 months before we put her there. And I was still working at the time. So I told my sister, I'm like, we got to start looking for a place for mom because like she was in bed. I came home at, you know, I ran down to my daughter's for 20 minutes. I came back and she was gone. You know, she was gone for 2 hours.
How long has she been in assisted living?
She's been in this facility, in the memory care about 4 or 5 years, I think.
Wow.
She was in the assisted living section over there before that for about 8 or 9.
Does your mom recognize you?
Sometimes she's like, oh, my daughter Kathy's here. And sometimes she's like, oh, my mom's here. Because if you look at a picture of my grandmother, I'm a spitting image of her. So, you know, she gets a little confused.
How's she doing now?
I noticed that since she's where she's at now, if she's sleeping and you go, Mom, she'll be like, what? Or leave me alone, I'm sleeping. In the old place in Landings, if she was sleeping and you went, Mom, she would jerk, you know. So she's getting better, but she's still got that, you know, fear. But she's doing a lot.
So
we thank you.
Little trauma.
Yes, she's still traumatized from it. She'll pick up her sleeves and go, I don't know what happened, but this is bad. I'm like, that's okay, Mommy. You don't have to know. I know. I got this.
Again, we want to reiterate that we're thankful for the staff at Landings, the cooperation. Again, this doesn't paint all AFC nursing homes with the same brush, but it does if you cover or you hire individuals that continue to do this. You know, I said to the media before, when you look at the staff that has to handle vulnerable adults, be my personal opinion, we raise the standard of education and licensing, raise the standard of pay, bring in a quality, higher paid staff that can care for individuals like your mother who require more than just babysitting. They are in severe dementia, and to learn that. But when you constrict these facilities to hire people with low wages that are overworked, not justifying any of this, but this is the system that we have built. So I don't know what more we could do except for yell from a megaphone to require certain criteria and elevate the standard as well as the pay of those individuals for those homes and give them the opportunity. I know that our office works with the prosecutor's office and everybody else, and we're thankful for that. So Prosecutor Layton, this is not our first time dealing with this, but we always hope that it'll be our last, and that's why the media is here to spread that message. Background checks, accountability, video cameras. We always say nothing to hide, nothing to fear. That was a thing. I have no problem being on camera if you're doing the right thing. So we're going to open it up for a few questions from the media.
Did she have any prior arrests?
She had a small issue with shoplifting, if that's my understanding. Is that what we have? Right, but nothing severe.
You're looking at any additional charges to either the home itself or anybody else in relation to something similar to
It's
this?
it's a continuing investigation, but as of today, there's no additional charges that have been filed.
Were you surprised that you were able to get this incident on video? I mean, a lot of times you're trying to piece things together.
Well, I can say this, as a prosecuting attorney, I love video in any kind of situation because juries like video. And if we can show a jury video, we have a really good chance of showing the crime occurred beyond a reasonable doubt. So I think what the family did was brilliant, and it's certainly going to help us in the prosecution of this woman.
You had mentioned bruises that you had noticed, in the months before. What, I mean, to tell anyone here, what should families look for, if maybe they're suspecting this happens, and then what can they do?
I can tell you what we noticed, and that was like bruises, like handprint bruises, and about 3 or 4 weeks before we actually got this part on video, she had a couple bruises. My husband called and said, why the hell is it every time we come over there, my mother-in-law has bruises up and down her arms? Their response to him was, we don't talk like that here, and hung up on him. But we've gotten this, every time we brought it to their attention, it was, oh, she's hitting her arm on the walls. She's hitting her arm on door frames.
I would tell you that part of the responsibility of caregivers is to, when you go there, when you see something, say something. And that's why the elder abuse hotline is there. 911 is there. Our radio 257-3422. But ultimately, bruises that don't match the stories, bruises that are in different stages of healing. And you're going to get those different stories. But I think the takeaway that I heard from Kathy is our gut told us there's something. Go with your gut. That sixth sense really does make a difference.
I've often said that in elder abuse and child abuse cases, if you see something that seems out of the ordinary, tell somebody about it. The reason we're in these positions is we are public servants. We don't feel put out when the public calls and says, hey, something's wrong here. We want to go check it out. We hope it's right. Okay, we hope nothing's wrong. But if something is wrong, we want to get at it. That's what we do. And there's no more important people to protect than those I mentioned earlier: children, special needs people, and senior citizens.
All right. I want to thank Kathy, Kim, Kimberly, and Jim for coming down here and for your courage. Thank you for allowing us to tell the story. And we're going to continue to bring justice. Thank you, Prosecutor Layton, for your continued support, protecting our people.
Always.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.